They were standing by the mirrors, and I didn't even look at them. I just walked straight about me in the bathroom while I was in the stall. So these two girls, I guess you can consider them part of like the popular group in high school, and they always hated me for some reason. I never knew why. So I don't know if you guys remember that story time I was talking about, that kid that I got caught making out with in the movie theater. Well, it was around this time, and it was when I was kind of talking to him. So me and him would usually text each other and be like, hey, meet me in C Hall, and then we would walk around the school and kind of skip class. And one day while we were doing that, one of the girls ended up passing us in the hallway and said hi to him. And I didn't really care because we weren't dating or anything. I was just like, ew, I hate that bitch. So me and him end up going back to class, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel like going back to class, so I'm going to go to the bathroom. And in high school, we had to put our IDs on the table so that they knew who was in there. And of course, I see the two girls' IDs on the table, so I'm like, ugh, great. I'll just walk in and pretend like I don't even see them. So they were standing by the mirrors, and I walked straight past them right into the stall. Then one of the girls was like, oh my gosh, she's such a hoe. What's her name again? And then the other girl said my name. This is part 2 of catching two girls talking shit about me in the bathroom while I was in the stall. So I was in the stall, and I'm pretty sure that I didn't even have to pee. I was just in there on my phone because I wanted to miss more class. So one of the girls ends up saying, oh yeah, she hooked up with A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and they're all friends. They all know each other. And not only did she hook up with every single one of them in that friend group, she also gave two boys head at the same exact time behind a dumpster. And I'm sitting in the stall like, damn, like, who did that? That's, like, fucking nasty. And then the other girl was like, wait, what's her name again? And the girl was like, yeah, it's Mia Frankel. And I was like, oh. And I don't know to this day if that girl made those rumors or if she heard them from somebody else. I'm not sure. I mean, this girl in particular, she always, like, had something out for me. I don't know why. But that is besides the point. So I started shaking, and I was like getting really bad anxiety because I was like, what the fuck am I about to say to these girls? So I walk out. This is part 3 of catching two girls talking shit about me in the bathroom while I was in the stall. And before you guys roast me on what I said to them, just keep in mind that I was 14 and I had never gotten into any confrontation with anybody before. So, like, basically I was a pussy. So I walked out of the stall, and the only thing that I could think to do was just stand there in front of them and look at them and then, like, just be like, ugh, and then walk out. And I regretted doing that immediately after, because when they looked at me, they did not expect to see me. Like, they were like, oh shit. And I should have snapped on them. Like, I wish I had the willpower to be like, bitch, what you say? Like, I didn't hook up with A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. I hooked up with fucking Z. But no, you know. And then the second I walked out of the bathroom, all I heard was them fucking hysterically laughing. They're like, oh my god, ha ha. And then I went to guidance and I just started crying. This is a story of the time that my neighbor backed into my sister's car, and then my boyfriend got in a screaming match with her mom. So in my family, we have 5 cars, and we fit 4 cars in the driveway, and then I usually park out front. I have a really long, steep driveway, so it's kind of a hassle to get out of it, so sometimes my sister will park out front too. My dad would get annoyed if we did that though, because we would park too close to the mailbox, and then the mailman wouldn't give us our mail. So my sister one day parked a little bit farther down, which, like I said, we've been doing that for years, so it wasn't anything different. We were still on our side of the street, but we were across the street from my neighbor's mailbox. And keep in mind, I don't have a narrow road. My road is very wide. So there is plenty of room for somebody to back out of their driveway without hitting somebody's car. So in the middle of the night one night, my neighbor and her friend rang the doorbell and said that her friend had backed into my sister's car. The girl's dad comes and said that he would pay for all the damage. I didn't really think much of it because we've been parking there for years, so I kept parking my car there. At the time, I was usually at my boyfriend's house, so I'd be home for maybe an hour a day, if that. So I would park there. Then my neighbor rang on my doorbell again. This is part 2 of my neighbor backing into my sister's car and my boyfriend snapping on her mom. So after the situation had happened, my neighbor rings my doorbell again. And this day in particular, I went home for an hour and I was in the shower when my sister answered the door. And when I got out of the shower, my sister was like, hey, the neighbor said that you can't park across the street from their driveway anymore. And I was like, what? I'm not going to inconvenience myself just because my neighbor's friend forgot that she had a rear view mirror. So over that week, I went home twice more. Also at this time, they were parking their cars across the street from our driveway and on our side of the street as well. And we never parked on their side of the street. So then if I was to park my car somewhere else, I would have to park far and walk a distance. Like, inconvenient. Also, like I said in the last video, my driveway is very steep, so it's a pain to back out of it. Anyway, one day I was leaving my house after being there for an hour and parked across the street from the driveway, and I see my neighbor's dad get in his car, which was parked across the street from our driveway, and he pulls up next to me and honks his horn for me to pull down the window. And before I could even get a word in, he started snapping on me, him, a grown man, yelling at a girl his daughter's age. So after he skirted off, I started having a really bad anxiety attack and called my boyfriend. Neighbor backing into my sister's car and my boyfriend snapping on her mom. Make sure you stay tuned because I'm going to insert a clip of the actual argument that they had. So if you watched any of my past videos, you'll know that my neighbor, when we were younger, sexually abused me, and anything to do with her family or her in general gives me really bad anxiety. For years before I even walk outside, I check to make sure that nobody in her family is outside. So when her dad pulled up next to me and started screaming in my face, I had a really bad anxiety attack and I started bugging out. At first, my boyfriend wasn't answering, so I called my friend Mike and he was calming me down, and then I called my boyfriend and he was like, bro, he yelled in your face, bet, got in his car, drove to my house, and stood outside his car. So the wife ends up coming outside because she sees him staring at their house and walks out and goes, "Oh, you brought your little boyfriend here to intimidate me?" And I was like, "No, he did it on his own because of your husband." And the whole reason why my boyfriend even came to my house in the first place had nothing to do with the whole parking situation. It had to do with her husband disrespecting me. The argument took a nasty turn when she started coming for my life.
Here. Listen to an adult for a change. You wouldn't have anybody listening to you.
Do whatever I want.
Yeah, that's right. That's your biggest problem.
Problem.
You always thought that since you were 4 years old.